What's on Your Mind is sponsored by ACMC 339.0, New Style Radio 98.7 FM, Breakthrough Studios, and Reggae Jam.
Good afternoon. How you doing? I am Carl, and it's What's on Your Mind once again. Program is produced by Breakthrough TV. Let me say thank you for tuning into the program. How are you? Let me say Happy New Year. Yes, we are in the second week of January. It's going so quickly as well. Let me say thank you for tuning into the program. I want to say a big shout out to my guest that I had all the way from Canada last week, Jennifer McLeod. How you doing? Wallace, I should say. Hope all is well with you, my sister. Or should I say cousin? And that was such a wonderful having you in the studio. It was such a great time having you in the studio and hooking up from where you are. Let me say big shout out to you. And also that wonderful book that you've actually wrote about your family. Absolutely marvelous. And don't forget, guys, go and check that book out. The book is called Miss G and Me, and it takes you to a journey from Jamaica to the UK, to Canada, and, you know what I mean, those sort of places. All through the Windrush generation period. Miss G, the book is all about, in which is Jennifer's mother. Or should I say, Ruth, how you doing? Also want to say big shout out to you. Elaine, how you doing? Should I say Miss Dunn? Also Pam, big shout out to you, Pam. I know what he's going to say. What me say, big shout out. Let me say thank you for tuning into the program. Also, Pal, how you doing, sir? Hope all is well with you wherever you are. Big shout out to you. Also, Maggie, big shout out to you. The whole family up there, big shout out to you. Also, Blossom, how you doing? Paula, how you doing? Carl, how you doing? Lydie, how you doing? June, how you doing? Norma, how you doing? So many of you, let me say big shout out. If I don't call your name, don't take it personally. It's just one of those things that happens, you know what I mean? And say thank you for tuning into the program. As you know, this is a program I look at the things that's happening around the world. And I pass my own comments about it, you know what I mean? This week I'm gonna look at a few stories. But before I do all that, I'm gonna introduce my guests. But give me a second. Let me say big shout out to all our guests we've actually had on the program in the past. Let me say Happy New Year. Let me say thank you for taking part in the program. I know it's time for you. We appreciate you taking part in the program, you know what I mean? And I'm saying, let me say big shout out to you. Massive respect, you know what I mean? And as you know, we can't pay you, but this is a platform where you can come and share your ideas. We don't even get paid either. And, you know, it's a platform where you can come and share your ideas and share different things, you know what I mean, to help our community and help the world to get better. Now, I got to tell you, my guest this week is a brother. Brother Joseph, how you doing, sir?
Yes, sir. I'm not too bad.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to be here.
Very happy to be
What's
here.
on your mind?
What's on your mind?
Yes.
Let me say thank you,
Teacher
brother.
Joseph,
Thank you,
yes.
Teacher Joseph. How are you?
Yes, I'm not too bad. How are we doing?
We're doing fine. Let me say, it's good to have you on the show because
Yes, indeed.
we've had a few men, but
Yes,
not
indeed.
a lot of men.
Oh, what? Oh, and what do you think that may be?
I don't know what it is. We've asked quite a few men to come, but you know, I don't know what it is with men. They are. We have a lot of ladies that comes on the show, but I don't know what it is with men. Is it because they're shy and they don't want to talk what's on their mind and they don't want to open up? And what we actually need the brothers, you know. We actually need the brothers to come and talk about what is actually going on. You know what I mean? It is good because when you talk about what is going on, you actually share different experiences, yeah, and you actually help to train the youth as well, which is what's going on the street, you know what I mean? So, and help the youth to sort of influence the youth as well, and help all of us, the youth and everybody, to become better person.
And there's just two things I would say. So really, we're talking about breaking bread. So to be brethrens, you must break bread.
Exactly.
And then we're talking about information.
That's right.
So it's having that conversation, that dialogue, and then it gets formed within inside us, information.
Exactly.
So there you go. We'll be doing a bit more of this tonight.
Yeah, and
But
tell me, what do you do, sir? What do you do? You do different.
Well,
I know you do
well,
different things. What do you?
yes, indeed. Well, we've obviously met here at New Style, and obviously pleased to meet your acquaintance. And I know you do the drive-through show there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a vibe. One of the days I'll have to come up with you on that, because of course I've done a bit of radio in the past.
Okay.
And you know, it's very interesting. And then, obviously, through lovely Marcia Anderson, who is the founder of the Children of the Sun, who I've been working with there for the last 4 or 5 years.
Right.
And it's been so uplifting and elevating to see, you know, the future seeds coming through and expressing themselves. And obviously we can talk on that. And you know, let's just keep on supporting what we've got in our community.
Yeah.
Remember, community means to commune in unity.
That's right.
So we must all get together.
And communicate.
And many hands make light work. But it's so good to see the children in that environment and how much they thrive. It's better than pocket money.
Marvelous.
It's
Absolutely.
And you know, hopefully they've got memories and things they'll take forward. and translate to others in the future.
Fantastic. And
Yes, indeed.
I must say a big shout out to Sister Marcia Anderson. Sister
That's
Marcia
right.
Anderson have actually been on this show quite a few times. And she'll be back with us very, very soon. You know what I mean? So we say big shout out to you, Marcia. Also big shout out to you, to Children of the Sun. You know what I mean? Big shout out to you. And let me say Happy New Year to all of you guys that actually tune into the program.
More power. Yeah,
More
23. And you know, there's just one brief thing I wanted to say about the year. This year works out to be a 7. So if you add the numbers together, you get a 7.
Okay.
So it's like the number of completion, and it's a metaphysical year, and it's a very karmic and spiritual year. So honestly, really look out for that, because astrology and astronomy is maybe something we can talk about a bit later, but shh, we don't want to tell them now. Yes.
Great. So you believe in all the stars and those signs? Do you believe in all that sort of stuff?
Well, the truth of the matter is in Kemet, which, you know, I don't like using that word, which is Egypt.
Yeah.
That is how we put everything in order. That's how we knew when to crop, you know, whether when to plant, and that was the beginning of our civilization. A lot longer than what they tell us it was. Yeah. And we still use that today. Wow. Same as the hours on the clock. You know, it's still embedded in the whole world's history. And the point here is, when we tell children, especially because they're more flexible than adults, and possibly some of you guys, then they can act upon that information. If we go into the institutions, say for example the schools, where that's not being taught, there's a lack. There's going to be lacking, and we're going to be talking about something like that a bit later. Marvelous. So yeah, so tune in.
Great.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Thank you.
That's a very good insight. I'm glad,
there you go. We've just started.
I'm glad we got a man in the studio.
Absolutely.
We got a balance now.
That's right.
So we've had a few guys in here. You know what I mean? And, we've had a few guys in here, but we don't have as many guys as we should like to have. You know what I mean? And it's good to have that balance.
Yes.
Just like even when we do different things, we say we don't want to work with all men because we don't get the balance. But it's good to have a balance.
That's
today,
a factory.
Which is actually marvelous.
And again, we have to go back to an ancestral guidance, which the balance is Mahat, isn't it?
Exactly.
The scales balance perfectly, and really what we need to do is, so there's no such thing. It's a sweeping statement as positive and negative. It's just the perception, the way we look at it, and can we keep that middle road and travel like that against less resistance? Because if you go against the grain or go against the flow, it's going to be harder, isn't it?
Marvelous.
And I'm going to be talking about this.
Marvelous.
But for now, I'll hand it back to you. But thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Right, guys, as you know, the program is called What's on My Mind. And I always look at a few things that's happening around the world. Now, this one, I never really want to talk about it. I didn't really want to mention this because it's everywhere. But I got to do it because, you know what? Now, Prince Harry, everybody knows who Prince Harry is, isn't he? He's put the book out. You know what I mean? And in the book, he's talking about his brother, his wife, his so many of his whole family, I should say. You know what I mean? And it's one of those ones. And the book is supposed to be a record. You know what I mean? The record sale of this book, yeah. And but some of the tabloids are actually playing it down. But it's actually supposed to be a record. Some people say it's the book that's done better than it is the Harry Potter book. You know what I mean? Well, I don't know about that. But in Birmingham, there was actually in Warstone bookshop, there was actually people queuing, and there was panic to get this book. You know what I mean? And Chris is a professor. The guy you see on the screen, he's a professor, and he's a professor, the chairman of excellence of education, and he actually works for a charity, and he actually went and get this book, and he actually said he get 3 copies. And what he actually said, he wants to get it from the horse's mouth. Exactly what is going on, you know. So, and that's the gentleman you see up there, as he with the book, he actually said he wanted 3 copies of the book. And I mean, probably he's going to give it to different people. Yes. And that's it. As I said, a lot of people have said different things about the book. One thing, and a lot of people have I mean, I haven't read it, so I can't tell you what it's about. You know what I mean? And I can't say what it's about. Yes. So I haven't read it. I think one of the things that actually comes out of it, common sense I always use. Common sense I always use. Now, a lot of people people in the media or somebody, they haven't embraced the book. You know what I mean? Because one of the things Harry has actually done is actually, and he's mentioned this time and time again, sometimes he blamed part of the media for his mother's death. Yes. And I think because he's blamed part of the media or the tabloids for his mother's death, I don't think a lot of the tabloids are happy with that. So he's never going to win. No matter what he does, it's the logic of it. No matter what he does, he is never going to win.
Not going to win.
You know what I mean? They're never going to have a good word to say about him. You know what I mean? And I said, the thing I fear for, which is the children. It's the children I fear for in the coming future. You know what I mean?
Well,
they always need somebody to have a go at.
Yeah, exactly. So let's just take it from there. That's why he said he left, because it was a fear for his children and his wife. And it was so funny. I just turned on the televised vision, the Satan Square as we call it, and the next day, and I heard the media saying, and Queen's representative and so on and so forth, saying that he was waging war upon them. But I mean, surely it's on the other hand, and really, remember his wife has got some drops of melanin, the black royal blood,
exactly.
within her, and that's just been a major problem. But I'll be totally honest with you, we do have to rewind it back to his mother, Diana. I think he really knows that it's probably a suspicious circumstance, and either way, the tabloids drove his, and she was very popular, and so on and so forth.
I watched him talk in that interview, and what he always said, he was actually saying that interview, when that tunnel, he actually drove through the tunnel. I don't know if you seen the interview.
Yes, indeed.
He actually drove through the tunnel where his mother died. And he says, it's just a normal tunnel. You know what I mean? He says, the tunnel is not a dangerous tunnel.
Yes.
I mean, we've got tunnel in Birmingham that is probably more dangerous than that. The Queensway, the Queensway. The Queensway goes on the bend.
Yeah,
it's a dangerous tunnel.
Real
the
talk.
tunnel in that goes to at Gatwick Airport, Heathrow Airport, that's a big tunnel. You know what I mean? The other one what we have, as I said, the Queensway, leave the Queensway and come to the Snow Hill. The Snow Hill goes down and you go into a bend.
For
you
real.
have to be careful when you drive around those tunnels.
You see why it called Snow Hill though, innit? Guy got a sticky hand slide
you
here.
have to be careful when you drive into those tunnels. You know what I mean? So it's one of those ones, you know what I mean? So,
but you see, really, when we look at the aftermath and the effect, and we look at that vehicle,
Yeah.
He's going to be scratching his head like I was scratching my head. I mean, I can remember that day when it was announced, and unfortunately, I don't know if it's conspiracy theories. I'm not a theorist, I'm a conspiracy analyst. And she was obviously going out with Dodie Fired.
Yeah.
And remember, his dad said many things about the monarchy and took them to court, and he said he wasn't going to let it lie. And sometimes we forget, but that's his mother. And it's interesting.
I think that my final thing on that is, I think one of the things he actually says, he says tabloids, you know what I mean? He's actually seen the photographs. Somebody actually gave him the photograph, you know what I mean? And the tabloids actually has seen the photograph of his mother. And so he says, I think one of the things that comes up is like they was all taking photographs and nobody was helping his mother away from the people who does what they do, you know what I mean? So it's just one of those ones, you know what I mean? So one of them ones.
And you see, and there's one other thing I'd like to say, really and truthfully, it's a reflection of society.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, when we see something going on, we take a picture.
We all going to take the picture, innit?
And I'm going to say the last time I checked, they were saying you get caught on camera over 800 times a day. And there are many shows and streaming services where people go into public areas and start filming, and the police might come and arrest them under Section 43 and say it's terrorism, and obviously they get claims against them. Right. But I'm saying, you see how it is. So people do that, don't they? They see an incident, and instead of possibly trying to help, they're there filming.
One of them ones.
Society.
Yeah, I got to move on.
We are.
My time is going. Now,
Yes.
Now this is out of the United States. Now, a boy, 6-year-old, been arrested for shooting his female teacher at school. This happens in Rickneck Elementary School, and this is in Virginia. And now this school is a school that teaches from 5-year-old to 9-year-old. Now, what is a boy at 6 doing with school with a gun to shoot a teacher? One grandmother has also said that one of the things that's actually surfaced in some time ago is another child actually take a golden bullet to school. Now, what are you doing take a golden bullet to school? And Abby, the teacher there, is very, very critical, and she's in a critical way. And I say, it's just one of those things that you keep seeing happening. And I can't understand why a 6-year-old has a gun in school. You know what I mean? And I could go really big on this because my time is running. This has to be the parents. A 6-year-old with a gun
It
has to be
absolutely
the
sounds-
parents.
But my brother, the most prevalent points I see there is why them not put the gun safe somewhere where the 6-year-old couldn't get to, or put it under a lock and key.
If he gets it from home and something.
Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah.
Exactly.
You know,
what is a 6-year-old
it's not a
doing with gun?
lunchbox, is it?
No, it's not a lunchbox.
And then, what sort of gun was it that the 6-year-old could fire? Because you need the pounds of pressure. I'm not sure if it's 2 pounds of pressure to actually fire it.
A gun, yeah.
Yeah, and then, you know, where obviously they're probably not checking 6-year-olds yet, but it's very, very irresponsible and very.
It is very.
And
crazy.
you know what sort of charges? The charges must surely be brought to the parents.
Well, as I said, he's been arrested, and I don't. We haven't got any update on what the charge is going to be. But when you see things like that, it's absolutely just ridiculous.
And then it's just another nail in the coffin of the American. You know, that should we have guns? Shouldn't we have guns? So on and so forth.
We talk about
you know.
we talk about this so many times last year. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So even I think in the last week in the program I had, I was actually mentioning to my I guess that was an issue. You know what I mean? Because she lives in Canada, and we were saying that sort of thing happens in Canada as well. You know what I mean? So
you see, we have to look at the inception of these sorts of things as well. And when America was in its inception, it was the Wild Wild West. You understand? Yeah. Everyone's seen a cowboy movie, haven't they? You know, and you know we like to go deep with some of our heroes there. But absolutely, sir.
It is ridiculous. Let me move on. According to the Guardian, now Kevin McCarthy elected the Speaker of the House. It actually takes him 15 attempts. As I say, he's the Speaker of the House. And there was actually tension. You know what I mean? There was like, if you see in the very bottom stream, there's dragging a guy back, holding him back. You know what I mean? So there was actually tension going on there. And as I say, now the Speaker of the House, I got to tell you, the Speaker of the House is the most powerful position for a person in the United States, because Congress cannot function without a Speaker. So you have to have a Speaker. So as I say, Kevin McCarthy is actually the Speaker, and he actually wins that, and a slight majority, because it was 222 to 212. So I say he's actually win that. And I got to tell you now, Kevin is actually, I call him Kevin. Yes, I'm gonna call him Kevin. Kevin actually a Republican. So Donald Trump must be feeling a little bit tough now, isn't it? Anyway, when I mentioned Donald Trump, people say, Carl, let me move on. Now, let me move on. I got to move on because of something. Now, come to London. Now, police has released a picture of this man, and he was actually knifed in Peckham, Peckham Park. And it happens the 30th of December, and they've actually released a picture of him. And this man was actually minding his own business, doing nothing. He's a 29-year-old man, and they've literally, you got to say, they murdered him. I mean, Kebab has been murdered, and as I say, he wasn't doing anything. He was just sitting outside a cafe by the park, and somebody come and stab him to the heart. Police are actually searching for 2 men who was actually on a pedal bike. So they're actually searching for this man. I must tell you as well, keeping it within that context, I must tell you now, the Met Police have actually released the homicide figures for 2022. This is in London, and the homicide figures in just in London is 109 homicides. You know what I mean? 9 of those were actually shooting, 69 were stabbing, and 14 of those were regards stabbing of teenagers. And not just in London, but into Birmingham. Now, in Birmingham 2022, homicide rate has also risen. It's 144 homicides in Birmingham for the last 10 years. So it is high in Birmingham. That is the highest figure in the last 10 years in actual Birmingham. And this is actually coming from Birmingham Live. So it is one of those ones, and you see this all the time. And I don't know what to say about knife crime and how do we solve it, or what do we do with it? I don't know. You know how passionate I was talking to you about the program when you just come in. How I felt about that. You know what I mean? And I don't know what the answer is. I was saying maybe more education, more training, open up more.
Me have to stop you there. You see, you know, the point of the matter is, if you look at the apes, or if you look at elephants, or we look at anything in nature, they don't go to a school. They might have other members in their family, that look after them, and they just watch them and they grow. When you're going into the institution, you're being institutionalized. Okay. So wear a uniform, put on a tie, don't speak. Obviously we need a certain form of etiquette, but you can't express yourself, be quiet and do your work. That is not good for children. That's not good for their minds. So there, from inception, there is a problem.
But you could say, is this the generation? Because when I was growing up, I wasn't like that. You understand? A lot of people from my generation wasn't like that. We never used to, okay, we have a little squabbles and we have a little fight, but we never used to, the knife was available, but we never used to go around stabbing each other or killing each other. Well, I think possibly it's different generation thing. And I think one of the things is that actually plays and the influence is what we call dance music or the violent lyrics in music. I think also what causes that sort of because different things will cause these influence, as you were saying. Music is one of those. I mean lyrics in music. We see the television with all kind of different games and violent games and all kind of stuff. What we call the television with all different games and all kind of different things. I mean, we see gun crimes and all the rest of it when we talk about films, and we see people. I mean, come on. When I sometimes you watch some films now and you see somebody just pick up somebody and lick him down like that, boom. And then some people in real life, they think that is the way you can do people. So I think all those sort of stuff in different generations influences the generation to sort of get into things like that.
Well, maybe me have to jump somewhere if we get back here, so. But remember just what he did there with the football American player. Yeah. And he posted that or retweeted that book. Yeah. Remember that book that caused controversy, you know, with such and such. You know exactly where we are, and hopefully the listeners do. Well, so he was under all of that pressure, but the people who were actually producing the book, Mr. Bezos and Amazon and all them people like that, not a word was said to them. No, exactly. So let me rewind the argument again. The same thing with the guns. Yeah. So it's the people, you know, or you know, some of these guns they're old, they've been used in wars and wherever, and the people get them. But I'm saying the people that are making the guns have a responsibility as well. Not true? And then let's look at some of the psychological damages, because even if we say in places like Jamaica, back in the days, the violence wasn't like that neither. And neither was the music.
And Jamaica's coming up in this program.
Exactly. And there's one thing I will say, with the music, they've pitched it up 8 hertz. As far as I know, it used to be 432. Now it's at 440, which is a more of a, let's just say, a demonic frequency. Okay. So you see within that, because to be honest, I'd say it's not necessarily the lyrics, because look how many bad men we grew up to see on telly and so on and so forth, and we're not emulate, and we wasn't particularly emulating that. So just as the last one, it's just like the Black Panthers. You could have a solid movement anywhere, but if you put drugs, when you've got no money and you're socially, economically, you know, deprived, and then, you know, it's going to cause drugs and gun, it's going to cause confusion. Then the brother that you and I were brothers, now one of us has got to go missing.
Point taken. I understand that, yeah. Very good point. Very
but I mean, we must recognise, and they're possibly, you know, try to get through a bit more. That's the trap you're going into. And really, the last thing I always say is just really, because I do listen to rap music, let's say, but, you know, one can put it in context. But the point of the matter is, if you listen to battle rap, they'll be talking a lot about guns and so on and so forth. It's reality.
In the early days, it's fight the power.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All the tune.
Fight the power.
I've done a little tune, and I'm going to send it to you.
I'm going to send it to you. Malcolm X.
When we finished. Yes, absolutely.
Major influence. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Even back in those days. But now it's like.
It's nothing.
The African American rap music and the African American hip hop music, it has caused so much. People won't like me saying that, but it has caused so much influence that you see all the rappers in America killing each other. You know what I mean? Very, very few rappers in America die of natural causes. They either die by shooting most of the time. You know what I mean?
And then, you know, I don't know if they're rappers or MCs.
Exactly.
I'm getting a bit intricate on it because the point of the matter is, if you've been fed this death now, you know, say, well, look, you can make it, because what happened to the conscious music?
Exactly, because some of those lyrics you hear, you know what I mean? Cut this up, do this to that, you know. Something you hear in rap music, you know what I mean? Even one of some of the very, very famous rappers, you know what I mean? When I mean, like, if you listen to some, I mean, like, everybody think he's flipping up there, fantastic, brilliant. If you listen to some of early Tupac's music, if you ever listen to some of early Tupac music, and screw this woman, do this woman. If the girl don't want to do this with her. You see what I'm saying? The influence trickles down. The influence trickles down. And there are other people who will actually take it under their level.
But I'll be totally honest with
Yes.
you. Tupac, I'm going to defend his corner. It was very, very complex. It's a very, very, even obviously using Inception, his mum was with him when he was in prison, so on and so forth. The Black Panthers and the people that he grew up with. And, I'm not here to revive the East and West Coast beat. But what I'm saying is, and he passed on at 25, but if you look at his dialogue and what he was trying to say and, what he was going to do, that's why he had to be killed. And then I'll be totally honest with you, in my opinion, that beef was all sort of like hyped up. And, I just want to go back in history again, because everything is relevant. The East and West Coast, well, where did that really start? That really started with black people when they were working the trains and they were making the train lines because they were putting down the train tracks.
Okay, yes.
And the people there were pushing them and they were saying, look, you can't let these, I don't know if you can say bad words on the show, but we've called very derogatory names. So you can't let these from the West get to that point before we do on the East, and they're the inceptions of it. Same as when we look at the small islands in the Caribbean, that's another word, small island people, or don't like these people from these people, or don't trust it. You've got to think about it. It's the lack of trust again, isn't it? Because if we can separate these people by mistrust, then,
It's nice. I know. We'll have to come back and discuss because my time is running.
Facts.
I need to do
You
this.
facts.
I need to do this.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll have to come back and do this. Now, let me move on. Now, a British 13-year-old girl has actually been found, and there was a lot of this wonderful 13-year-olds had disappeared. You know what I mean? And in Trinidad, but she actually been found. They went on holiday in Trinidad, and as I said, she actually been found, which is marvelous. They thought she might have been abducted, and the Lika has been renewed with her mother. Which is absolutely marvelous. Still moving on. Now, a British tourist that actually went to Jamaica. According to the Jamaican police, he was actually killed in Jamaica. He was murdered. And according to the Jamaican police, it was like a contract killing. Yes. And as I say, Sean Patterson, my apologies. Sean Patterson, from London. And Jamaican police has also arrested his pal. And he was shot 3 times. Sorry, he was shot 3 times. 3 days, my apologies. He was shot 3 days after arriving in Jamaica, and he was shot by a pool. And as I said, police are actually looking for his pal. Now, talking about Jamaica. Now, let me talk about Jamaica. My Jamaica. It's been another crazy year in Jamaica where killing and murder is concerned. 1,498 people has been murdered in Jamaica. The murder rate is up. And it is alleged that Jamaica's probably have the highest murder rate now. Don't like saying this. It disgusts me when I say this, but us who live abroad find this very, very distasteful. You know what I mean? And as I say, the Jamaica is considered as probably the highest country now for the murder rate. Yeah. Considering of her, I gotta call Jamaica her. Considering of her Central American countries, you know what I mean, or even South American countries, Jamaica is up there, right at the top of the list. Venezuela, Norway, Honduras, Jamaica sits at the top. You know what I mean? Colombia, Jamaica sits at the top. Central America, you know what I mean? And this is actually coming from the Jamaica Defense Force in Jamaica. And as I say, Venezuela was very high in 2021, and said Jamaica has actually passed that list, which is actually I can't understand it, and it is one of those ones. And I always think, you know what I mean, like everybody we see it all over the world. Black Lives Matter. The other thing as well, these countries are bigger than Jamaica. You know what I mean? A lot of those Central American countries or South American countries are bigger than Jamaica, much bigger than Jamaica. And yet you got so much. A lot of people don't like me saying that. You got such a small little island, just killing off their brothers and sisters all the time. It's not always something there, but come on, man, stop it.
Stop it.
Stop it, man. We are supposed to be one.
One.
We're supposed to be one.
Ain't Yeah,
we're
man,
supposed
for real.
To be one,
yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
real talk.
I want it, Black Lives Matter. I can't stop because my time is running. When you talk about Black Lives Matter, you know, we're supposed to be one, unite and stop killing off each other. You only have a small little place.
That's the matter. What is it, 3 million? It's towards around 3 million people.
When I was going to school, Jamaica, I mean, it's probably a little bit bigger now. When I was going to school, Jamaica was 144 square miles. It's probably a little bit bigger because you've got places whose, you know what I mean, that's developed over there, you know what I mean? But come on, you need to get it together. You know what I mean? According to still keeping it Jamaica, according to the figures that are coming out. Now, St. Catherine and St. James and Westmoreland. Now, St. James, figures for St. James in crime, murder rate is, St. James is 198 homicides. St. Catherine North is 145. Westmoreland is 140. St. Andrew South is 131. And St. Catherine South is 113 homicides. Now, Portland, and there's no excuse, Portland has the lowest homicide rate, which is 14. 14 is still too much. Yes, 14
way
is,
too much.
14 is still too much. Let me go a bit lighter. I'm going to talk about that probably a little bit later on. Now, let me go a bit lighter. Now, let's go to sports. Now, sports. Now, Villa fans, Aston Villa. Now, Aston Villa get dumped out of the FA Cup competition. They get dumped by Stevenage. Now, I got to tell you, I've never really heard of Stevenage. Don't laugh.
Oh, me not laugh.
What are you laughing? I've never heard of Stevenage. Stevenage is actually a league. Is it a League Two? Stevenage is a League Two.
What is going on there?
Football club. You know what I mean? Aston Villa is a Premier League club. You know what I mean? And it's got such a massive history. So I don't know. Stevenage beats Aston Villa 2-1. You know what I mean? At Villa Park as well, just right down the road from here. So
what a shame.
What a shame, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm telling you, all of them supporters, they leave there, them I cry. How you mean? Innit? Boy. What's that first or second round, my brother? Was that first or second?
The third round.
Oh,
third round. Third round, yeah. It's the third round, yeah. It's one of those ones.
Stephen is a buzzing, you know?
Stephen is a buzzing, man. So it's one of those ones. Terry, big shout out to yourself. Michael, big shout out to you. I know you're all very big Aston Villa football fans. Let me say condolence.
They're like, nobody mention me name.
Commiseration.
Jeez, commiseration.
Let me move on.
Because we have to start off the new year.
Now, a man that's been charged with actually the rapper Takeoff. He was released. Patrick Clark was actually charged with, as I said, with the rapper. You know what I mean? With the rapper murder. He's actually been released. And this happened on the 5th of January. And he has been released on a $1 million bond. You know what I mean? So that is a very interesting case. And that was, I was talking about rappers getting killed. That is another rapper that actually got killed a couple of weeks ago. You know what I mean? So it's one of those ones. It's one of those ones. Still keeping with entertainment. Itana has taken VP record label to court. And she's actually filed 14 lawsuits against VP, and the judge has dismissed 9 of those lawsuits, you know what I mean? And he's actually given Itana time to go and amend her complaint. And it is one of those ones. I love Itana, I love her music, you know what I mean? And I hope nothing don't seriously go wrong with it. And a lot of people actually speculating that Itana probably is going to lose that case anyway. So, because when you got a big fight in a big giant like that, we hope she doesn't. When you're fighting a big giant like that, you just don't know what's going to happen now. Moving on still, dancehall. Now, dancehall, superstar, Shonda Paul.
Dirty
rock. Shonda Paul is the biggest reggae artist. Scream on YouTube. Yes. He is the biggest. He's number one. Everybody screams that he's number one on YouTube. Also, Jamaican artist also. Chronic Law is actually the most streamed artist in 2022 on the same platform. So, Sean Paul and you two, I'm sorry, I don't know you. Chronic Law is actually doing great there. You know what I mean? Now, it's one of those ones. Now, I started my show with Harry. You know where I was talking about Harry now? Now, Harry, Prince Harry, has said Shenseea music has helped him to get through tough times in his family. Now, the Duke of Sussex, get it right, has released the book, you know what I mean? The book, as you know, the book is called Spear. And I would say, in his book, he described it that Shenseea has actually inspired him. Now, Harry, now I gotta say, Harry's got a beautiful wife. I wonder what his wife is gonna say. And also, Shenseea is a beautiful lady. So, I can't say nothing more. That's what I'm gonna say.
See that? We wonder if Megan's screwing, you know. She might feel away, you know.
I don't know. Probably Harry want to boom, 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 boom.
Well, you see, he's offside, so they could be partying and we wouldn't know about
Behave
it.
Yourself.
A little private jet here and there, you know.
Behave yourself.
Children to bed, you know. Everything I want. Then I write a new song. You know what I mean?
I know, it's one of those ones. Now, let me move on. Now, Dennis Brown has been Rolling Stone magazine, every now and again, Rolling Stone magazine does a list of the 200 greatest singers around, or that's been around, or some are gone and some are here. Now, the new figures actually come out. Rolling Stone magazine has put this out, and so it's the list of 200 greatest singers.
Okay.
And what they've actually come up with is like Dennis Brown is actually the greatest singer in Jamaica, but on that list he came up at number 67. Now, Michael Jackson has came up number 86 on that list. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know how they made that out. Now, and also Johnny Cash came up 85 on the list. Diana Ross came up 87. Toots Hibbert from Toots and the Maytals came up 94. Bob Marley, where did Bob Marley come up?
Yeah, let me guess. 37.
Where did Bob Marley come up?
37.
No, guess again.
Number 1.
Guess again.
Right, one more guess. Number 23.
No, number 98.
What? Is what am I say? What is it? Rolling Stone?
Yeah, Rolling Stone, greatest list of artists. You know that. They put a list out all the time,
It
innit?
look like them take.
No, Barrington Levy. Where do you think Barrington Levy was?
And he was
Something like that.
Yeah, we will do that a bit later. But he's in the top 100 or 200.
Barrington Levy is 119.
Oh,
And Luciano came up. Luciano came up 143. Now
we should compile them ourselves.
Yeah,
surely.
I said that I'm going to do this for
them. Yeah. We have to do that.
When they're ready, I'm going to do
That's
this.
the link, yeah.
I'm going to offer them my service to do this.
Yeah,
Now, I must admit, in the top 10, I do agree with some of the people in the top 10. Now,
let's hear them.
Aretha Franklin.
Well, yeah, we could bust the top 10, yeah.
Aretha Franklin is number 1.
Too many. Okay. She had a lovely voice.
Whitney Houston is number 2.
Wow. See, look, there we go. The sisters again. Sisters are doing it for themselves.
Sam Cooke is number 3.
Smooth.
Sam Cooke got a fantastic voice. Billie Holiday is number 4.
Oh, wow. Deep. Nina Simone.
Mariah Carey is number 5.
Oh,
Ray Charles.
New school.
I think Ray Charles actually did head the list at one particular time. I think he was 2. He's down to number 6. Stevie Wonder is number 7.
Wow.
Beyonce is number 8. I don't know if I'd put Beyonce in the top 10. You know?
I mean, it's like, are we talking like performances
greatest
as well?
Voice.
Or just
You wasn't listening to me saying
Yeah.
greatest voice of all time.
I know, but when you think of Beyonce,
Yeah.
No hard feelings, B.
Yeah.
You know, you're a superstar.
No, Al Green came in at number 10.
That's smooth music.
And Al Green is a very, very good, fantastic vocalist, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Now, the man with the golden voice, what we call the man with the golden voice, he never make it into the list. Have a guess who it is? A man with the golden voice.
Wow.
I didn't say the man with the golden gun, the man with the golden voice.
Or English or Jamaican?
He's American.
Oh, American. Wow. Lord have mercy.
He plays,
he plays Chuck
piano.
Berry.
He's a guitar.
James.
He plays piano. He's a singer and he plays piano.
All right.
You're going to jump out the street, I tell you. Nat King Cole.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Nat King Cole.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't even make the list.
Oh, wow.
You know what
And
I mean?
his voice is smooth like garnet silk.
Yeah, and I think people like people like who sort of never made the list. Even what's her name? Wow. Her name just came. Shaka Khan. I don't think Shaka Khan made the list. No,
And you know.
and Shaka Khan has been a backing singer for so many.
Oh, you sounded like the
years.
tune in. You went Shaka
Shaka
Khan.
Khan.
Go a little baby. Yeah. And absolutely. But you know something? The truth of the matter is, really and truthfully, we have got too many.
Yeah.
Because if you've done your personal, I've done my personal, maybe we might have 40, 50 likes together.
Yeah.
But then the other 150, 160.
Yeah, but I think you got to
We're
do
so
it.
prolific.
That's why I say I agree with Aretha Franklin being number 1.
let's
But
go there.
the fact is, it's not because when you're doing this, you can't have personal likes.
Yeah, the facts.
You have to
Facts.
discipline yourself.
Exactly,
to
and
step
think of
yourself
it.
out.
But I mean, at the same time, obviously you couldn't mention all of them. Sorry,
mean,
sir. But how about Diana Ross? Where was she?
Yeah, she was way down the list. Diana Ross was late.
Example.
Diana Ross was actually way. Diana Ross was way down the list.
And who said that?
Diana Ross was 87.
We'll say, wow, you see that?
You see what I'm saying? And even Michael Jackson, you would have texted Michael Jackson
Yeah.
in the top 10. And I'm not even
it's
talking
funny
about
the way
Michael
they
Jackson
compare
when he went solo.
Yeah.
I'm even talking about Michael
But
Jackson
you see this.
when he was Ben.
That's what I'm saying.
and
And this,
also-
and you see, this is where I'm just going to draw it together. When you started with Dennis Emmanuel Brown, Big Up the Prince, every time, Strictly Rockers, performing 8 years old. It's the same sort of time as Michael Jackson. So you'd think relatively they'd be in a sort of same sort of space.
But Dennis Brown, I should say, Dennis Brown has made it 67 in the chart, in the 200 chart. But he's the number one in Jamaica.
Yeah, for real.
People like John Holt, you thought they would have been up there.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? But Dennis Brown is the number one in Jamaica. But as I say, he's the 67th.
What of all time, so to speak.
He's in Jamaica, he's the number one. But in the 200 charts, he's actually 67. Yeah.
You see. Interesting.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yes, for sure. I mean, like you said, do some work on it. We'll get on it and we'll compile our own, you know?
I must say as well, guys.
Or maybe get them too.
I must say as well, guys, I was actually born in the same hospital as Dennis Brown.
Oh,
different time, different year.
Yes.
But we was actually born. We was born. We was actually born. We was actually born on the same ward. Different time, different year. But we was there.
Oh, see that? Nice, nice.
Now, let me move on. A 13-year-old girl from Nigeria has won the World Championship Mathematics competition after solving 34 questions in 174 seconds. Nasara Dabo, yes, a Nigerian wonder kid. As I say, she goes to the Ideal International College in Kaduna State, and she actually wins gold. And we have to big those up. So it's time for the claps. We always do the clap when those wonderful people do so great. You know what I mean? Fantastic. I mean, and they say she's only 13. Fantastic, excellent students. Yeah. So there you have it. Now
we've got to big them up, and you know it's all within their mind. If we left to flourish and be ourselves, we can do so well. But sometimes there's this ceiling that we can't see, that we're banging our head against, you know? Yeah. Just go on.
Now I came to my rants, my little rant now. My little rant concerning Jamaica. Now, in Jamaica we see quite a few state of emergency this year. Don't know what is going on there. Now, and I mentioned Jamaica before, and so I was going to come back to it. And I don't know why you was interjecting there. Yeah. Why the crime rate is so high in Jamaica, and these people are actually killing each other. You know what I mean? And I say, compared to anywhere else, Jamaica is on the top of the list now, which is actually disgusting. You know what I mean? And I talk to a lot of people, and they say education. You know what I mean? Education. 9 of the 14 parishes. The last program I was on, when I was on that last program, 9 of the 14 parishes has been in a state of emergency. Yeah. Now, I've always thought, now this is me growing up. Now, I've always thought when I was growing up, and I'm not at all, when I was growing up, common sense, I only deal with common sense. I always thought a state of emergency was when your country is threatened. Yes? When you have a disaster in your country, like landslide, Mother Nature, and all that sort of stuff. Yes? Wrecking your country. But when you see a state of emergency for people murdering each other, it's absolutely disgusting. I don't know how things like that can happen. I really, really, really don't. And they say, we see Jamaica top the list compared to other Central American countries, you know? And it doesn't seem to be slowing down. It doesn't seem to be getting down. You also have a state of emergency when another force is sort of invading your country, you know what I mean? Nobody's invaded Jamaica. The political situation in the early 70s, that was when, you know what I mean, things was actually sort of bad between the politicians, you know what I mean? I know that it has trickled down, but it's not the same thing as in the 70s. So when you see all this sort of thing going on, you can't comprehend it. You just can't comprehend it. You have brothers killing brothers, sisters killing each other. A lot of it is just homicide, drugs and all the rest of it. And I can't understand what it is. Now, some of the death rates and some of the homicide rates and some of the things that actually happens in sort of Central American countries, those law enforcement has got tough on those people who are carrying out these crimes. You know what I mean? So that's why you actually see a drop in the level of so-called crime, that sort of thing in Jamaica. You know what I mean? But when you have little Jamaica, have to put a state of emergency out so many times.
It's too many.
In a year, you know what I mean? I think it's 148 murders. Now that may seem something to the people, but that is a big thing. You're not at war with anybody. You're only at war in yourself.
Well, again, that brings me back to what I've been talking about, and it's about perception and then our mind. But to be honest with you, I'm not going to leave out epigenetics here, but I'm going to put you on the spot. When you was a youth, see, that wasn't too long ago, my brother, and your parents were disciplining you, for an example.
Yes.
Did you get some burp lick, or did you get some burp lick?
I got a whole heap of lick.
So really and truthfully, if you look at the dialogue and maybe that mannerism of it, what you probably didn't realise, it was, for want of a better word, the overseer whipping you through your parents, and then say, oh, that's very deep, Teacher Joseph, you done too much there. But the point I'm trying to say is these things that are done to us, and these horrific things, they go 7 generations down, 7 generations, some more. And if we don't really know how to handle ourselves and how to act, or we've been taught to act in certain ways, and it's not, so to speak, properly addressed, then it's going to trickle down.
Yeah, but you have
because
I see that, but you have to have discipline. I mean, I see little children. I see little children, right? I see little children on video clips. You know what I mean? I see. Somebody sent me a clip. Somebody else sent me a little clip, right, some time ago. And they sent me a little clip with a little boy running. What the fuck? I can't swear, right? I don't want to see no little boy swearing. And that's the parents. It has to be the parents that send that thing.
They're obviously, they're obviously encouraging it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have to have something. I tell you what, I was disciplined, right?
Yes, for
I
real.
wasn't disciplined, bad. But I was disciplined. You know what? It hasn't changed me. You know what I mean? And I realized what it was all about, and it hasn't changed me, and it has never changed me. And it's probably allowed me to the person that I am. I'm strong and I'm tough, and I don't stand any rubbish within that context.
Well, likewise, because mainly I was disciplined by my mother, and her standing up against Muhammad Ali. There wasn't too much of a difference. they weren't sparring or anything like that. Yeah. But some real discipline. But you're absolutely right. If anything, that's going to save you. But the point I'm saying is the policies now we have really is that you can't discipline your child.
No, exactly.
Not even in the slightest.
Exactly. You can't say boo to your child, because if you say boo to your child, anything can happen.
And then there's a lot more like social media. So they let the children sort of like act a clown, put it on whatever, and get 1 million views. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's like we go back to the startup. We go back to the early startup. No, you have a 6-year-old. Let's go back to the startup. We were talking about your let's drift. So we go back to a 6-year-old. What is a 6-year-old doing with God? There's no discipline there, is there?
And I'm not letting too much go. But when I was that age, I had an action man. How about that? Action man, me have and Batman car and Spider-Man and
I think probably when I was that age, I was just running up and down in the garden and all the rest of it.
Some of that, yeah.
Digging a hole, plant some food in, or experimenting with the garden.
Holistic,
experimenting with the
Absolutely.
garden. Planting different things in the garden, experimenting with different garden. I sort of experimenting how sort of Mother Nature sort of works, you know what I mean? So those sort of things, you know what I mean?
It's absolutely true. But again, it just proves that we're living in such a different time, and children's mentalities and their perceptions, because obviously they knew the damage of it, didn't they?
Yeah.
They knew they know if you hold up a gun, the child, what it could do.
Yeah.
You probably can't conceptualize all of it, but that danger. So it's just proving that we're not.
But as I said, I don't think you can give up discipline, because you have to have some discipline. You know what I mean? Regardless, I understand that, because one of the things I always taught as well that happens is the fact that a lot of children probably back in the day was discipline really tough, and that, as you said, that was just the thing that was coming through. And the other thing about discipline, some of those people, when they was actually disciplining you, they was angry. They wasn't disciplined and say, okay.
But that's something.
They was literally angry. There was literally anger, and they was pouring out their anger onto you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like how the past
hold
master
on.
did.
Like I says, it's all hurt is caused by a misunderstanding. But I wouldn't say anger. I'm going to change that, or let's change it to frustrations.
Yeah.
Frustrations. Could be many reasons why your parents are frustrated.
Yeah, because it was tough times them days. I mean,
and it's tough times now.
Yeah, but
I get you.
We move on. The technology, we've got a lot of stuff that they never had.
But I mean, the thing is now, if you told most youngsters some of the beatings that you were getting, they just wouldn't believe it. But I mean, you took it well. I took mine. You wouldn't go to the police. You weren't ringing up this number. Obviously, we don't want flat out abuse. But we definitely do want discipline, you know.
Okay.
You know, if you believe in, you know, Jesus Christ, he was there, he had 12 disciples, 12 disciplines that go around the clock. And then when you add the 12 to the 13, that's the change. So, you know, you spare the rod and save the child in it. Do you know? In it. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. That's what we do.
Right. So now I've chat, and me and you have chat. Now, what's on your mind? Your time.
Well, you say,
Exactly what's on your mind now.
Tom, see, what's on your mind? What's on your mind?
That's what it's
You
sick of, that's what the
yeah,
program is called.
Yeah, and you know.
Because you said you wanted to talk about something earlier, and so
Yes,
exactly,
well,
I'm telling you,
yeah, well,
so I'm asking the question now, what is on your mind?
Well, there's different things. Let's first start with the mind. So the word man translates from the mind. Mind and man are synonymous together. They walk hand in hand. So when we say a man, obviously when we speak holistic back for our ancestors, we're talking about male and female. Remember the balance we were talking about?
Okay.
That's what we need. So man, and obviously in the writings, meant male and female. Now I say all of that to say, our first Hermetic principle. Can you tell me that, Brother Carl? The first Hermetic principle?
No, I'm listening. I'm here to
Oh,
listen.
okay. No, that's absolutely
is what's
fine.
on
And you
your
can ask
mind.
a couple of questions. And the reason why I'm saying that is all is mental. We've got to realise that all is mental. All comes out of our mind, and everything we see is made by the mind. And, you know, like I said, you can interject and ask me any sort of question. So say, for example, the Earth is 6 sextillion tons, which is a 6 and 21 zeros. Everyone will be on the computer now, see even if it's right. But that's the closest to it. And what I'm saying is, what's on the Earth, what's on the Earth now, everything we can see in this room, comes from beneath the Earth.
Of course.
And so I'm saying that the whole concept of everything is from the mind. So it begs us to say, so now we're going to talk about, and we're not going to be doing no bashing here. If we say we're talking about God, did man make God, or did God make man? So that is the thought-provoking question. Did God make man, or did man make God? What do you think, my brother?
Did God make man, or did man make God?
Yes, out of...
It's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, really and truthfully. And you see, what it is I'll put my cards on the table.
I was teach when I was to teach. I was born to teach that God made man.
Yes.
That's the teaching I've had.
But now, okay then, so we're going to close our eyes. Can you picture a dog? You say yes or no. Can you picture a dog?
No.
Close your eyes. You can't picture a dog?
No. Oh, can I
Yes.
picture what a dog looks like?
Well,
Of course
yeah.
I can. Yes.
Yes, yeah, lovely. Can you picture what an orange looks like?
Yes.
Can you picture what a banana looks like?
Yes.
How about Mercedes-Benz?
Yes.
Okay, then God.
Not really, no.
So that's very good, because in our African conceptualization, it wasn't like a thing or a specific thing. God is everything. So let's just say the Western world or the Egyptologists, and I don't like the word Egypt at all, because that's calling us a name that we wasn't. It's just like saying Jesus Christ, which really means Jesus. His name, if that character was there, was Yeshua. So imagine if I came in and I says, Bernie, for example. Oh yeah, Bernie's doing a show tonight. You'd be saying to me, well, who's Bernie? So if I don't call you by your name, you're actually losing power and energy. We'll be flitting around because we haven't got too much time. But the point of the matter is so what is God? Because us as definitely a community all around the world will say Jesus done so many things. And for example, if we look at the capita, say we take Jamaica, for example, how many churches and places of worship there are per square mile? We'd be overrun. So why is it in a place with all that peace and harmony and all the pastors and all the congregation, all the nice things, so many people are dead and it's on a record? Okay, then we've got to speed this thing up. It's because really and truthfully, we're not doing the things that we're supposed to do, and we're not living in the way that we're supposed to do. Exactly. And even when we look back at Jamaica, it's so interesting and intriguing. We look at that as we came there as in servitude to do the work. There was probably 20, probably 100, but I'm going to say there were 20 different languages on that island. That ecosystem there, if we could look back and see the different melanated people from all over the world, would absolutely be fascinating. Obviously, when people came there, disease came, it wiped them out. We've got to realise, what were we really taught? And I think even when we got a foot into it, my brother, in 1962, before that or whenever it left English independence
before it got independence.
Yeah. And then that's when it seems all the madness had gone by, because everyone said it was a lovely place. Obviously, there was still that little hardship and then problems coming down. But, 60 years, let's call it 60 years, the place has turned into like a madhouse, so to speak, or where, people can be afraid, or is that pressure. But I'll be honest with you, I think there are certain people in power and in societies that really want to turn the outside into a prison.
Okay.
So you're afraid to go out. You don't want to do this here. You don't want to say that there. You don't want to speak to this person. You don't want to communicate. And things that have happened over the last 2 or 3 years help to reinforce that. Don't do this, don't do that, do this and do that. But again, spinning it back again. So it was when we spoke about early on astrology and astronomy. Now people say the world doesn't evolve around you. Brother Carl, the world does not evolve around you. But that is absolutely wrong. The world does evolve around you. And the day that you're born...
Why is that?
Yeah, absolutely. The day that you were born is a degree of light. So you have 360 days is as a Kemetic rule, each representing 10% of the spectrum. So that would take you to... So it's 36. You've got 18 male, 18 female, and 5 that gave birth to them. You see? That's how it works. That's our principle for countless thousands of years. Because remember, when we look at Kemet, even if you're going back just 6,000 or 7,000 years ago, the things that they done, you couldn't just come out. I'm not saying we was in a cave, but you'd had to be highly advanced. When we look at the Great Pyramid, it's 2.3 million bricks that you can't fit a piece of paper in.
That's right.
And they took away hundreds of thousands of bricks to build the cities.
Yeah.
Now, what that is and what that represents is probably there for a whole new show. But there's one thing, I think it's about 6 yards out. It's in the center of the Earth that we're on, the landmass. Right. Now, when we look at the stars, so this star sign, do you know what star sign we're in, Brother Carl?
No.
Shame on you.
I am here to learn.
Okay, exactly,
I don't know
exactly.
everything.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
That's
well, there are 12 star signs, of course,
yes.
and we are now in Aquarius.
Okay. Oh, yes.
Yes, exactly. You knew that.
You
knew that. And before that,
I am
it
an
was
Aquarian.
Pisces. Exactly. That's beautiful. And Aquarius represents water.
Yes.
And water represents information.
Okay.
You know about fractals. We're a fractal of the Earth. So the Earth is 2/3 water. We're 2/3 water.
Yes.
You're starting to get this now?
Yes.
And then I'm just saying, and as they put down, as a theory, as we taught in the Western world, that represents the woman. So a relationship, the word relationship, is talking about ships going on the water from one place to another.
Yes.
Exactly, because when they were making the law, they realised you need a law for the land and a law for the sea. So we're saying that even if you look at the buses, if you look at the buses that are going up and down this street, they've all got female names on. They haven't got male names on. Because don't forget, it's the female that gives birth. Because yes, and that can reproduce. And that is another problem within it. When we're saying God or something, we say, oh, he done so much for me. We're not saying it really in a Rasta form. You look at it, it's all masculine energy.
Yeah.
He. Where is the she? I mean, we adore women. You adore your mom in it. You adore your female family members and Aretha Franklin and all the rest. Okay. But real terms, real talk. So astrology, this sign is 2,000, like all of the signs, 2,160 years is one star sign. So we came out of Pisces. Now Pisces was about being told and belief. So you're believing in this, you're believing in that. That is why at this turning point, which has really been late 2011, 2012, and we're going into the house right now. Because if we look at Jesus and within the Bible, it's just a small percentage of the New Testament, which is actually speaking out of his house. He says, look out for the man bearing the water pitcher and follow him in his house. Now, houses, a metaphysical way of putting it, are states of mind. As in, another example, in my house, there are many
mansions.
There you go. And then I always say it like, I say, when I'm trying to explain to the children, even adults, let's just say it's like going to another area. When you go to another area or another town or even another country, it's a different sort of vibes. Do you understand? So anyway, just trying to link it all up
different
quite
culture.
quickly. Exactly.
Totally
And culture means something. But again, because of lack of time, I'm just going to stick with this point. So the point is, we're heading into the age of information.
Yes, of course.
And I keep on saying numbers mean something. So 101, we say that numbers were mostly made from fire. So we looked at fire and then we made the numbers. And like a pyramid, that really translates into house of fire. So it's very, very interesting. So the point I'm saying is, when you add all of that up, we worked out that is the width of the circumference of our planet, of the Earth, so which is about approximately 25,000 miles. So that sort of knowledge, how did we work that out? And then another reason why I say that is, whether we talk about the Dogons, the Stoa, the Stellar people, all of these and all of the great tribes from before, sometimes when we start talking about God and Jesus, who is Jesus, and his real name was Yeshua, and there is actually, you can research on it, there's actually 17 Christs altogether. And really, Christ is just a consciousness. It's a vibration, because we're living on a light planet and we're light people. So remember I said on your day you were born is 1 degree of light. So you worked it out, remember we said 18 male, 18 female, but you add 10 to them. So if you don't understand it, so 180 one side, 180 other side. So spirituality is actually the breath and the spiral, which is what the cosmos is. But we're saying is, you have to be, the messages are being sent every single day. Electromagnetic energy is being, and waves are being sent down in codes, literally. I know it sounds very deep, but obviously we're just keeping it basic. They're being sent down. We can even say it's a number system, and then it's about sort of decoding that and sort of like making something from it. And it's, yes, because you.
Did you study all this? How do you sort of
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
What sort of
Thank
studying
you,
did
thank
go
you.
for that?
Thank you.
I gotta ask
Yeah,
that.
you've got to ask all the greats and some more. Dr. Henry Clark, Ben Yakin, Ashra Kwesi. You know what I mean? All of the greats. But what I am saying is, I'm reading a couple of books. But here is it, the book of life. The trick is, and it's there to be shot down. It's a matter of opinion. It's my perspective. But we are the book. You see what I'm trying to say? We are the book.
Okay.
And when you open up a book, and what did it say about black people? The other problem, see, we can match all these things up, can't we? We don't read.
Yeah.
Hold on. It was 256 or 7 years that in America, if you read a book or they caught you reading, obviously there were different things going over the 13 colonies, different states, and times are different, but you could lose your tongue, you could be emasculated, you could lose a leg, or people in your family, if you had any immediate, your wife or your children, if they're around you, they could suffer. So when you've been told not to read, that's going to cause problems as well. But let's get back to it. So again, the man with the water pitcher is symbolizing Aquarius, which is what we're in now. So this number of this year, like I said, it's a spiritual number 7. It sets things up for the number 8.
Okay.
Numerology. And don't get yawning while I'm talking now.
No, I'm fine.
I know. I really think I'm going at high speed. And I'm sure, some of the people are watching it. Some understand it and some don't understand it. It's definitely something that we'll have to revisit. But one thing I will say to you about it as well is, what was the first religion? I'm going to ask you, what was the first religion? Because it's important here.
You tell us. That's why you're here.
Exactly. Well, the first, but sometimes it's to ask that within our head and see if we get the answers. The first religion was nature itself. Nature comes from the word natures. The natures, you see, the hieroglyphics and everything that we put in place. Right. So when I'm sorry, some of the scholars in the Western world would say, that we were worshipping gods, but we realised that everything was a force. There's a force in the wind. There's a force in the rain.
That's right.
There's a force in the heat. And even in the Bible.
One great big force.
Exactly. And even in the Bible, the light force at that, even in the Bible, it speaks about God. But that word was Elohim, which means God's. So when you break it down into that, there's still only one. But there's, in other words, because you respect things. Listen, if you pretend there's a couple of trees over there, let's say if they were apple trees. Back in the day, you'd walk up to the tree because it's live, it's conscious. You would say, oh, thank you. You bared some fruit for me today. Everything's ripe. It's lovely. Do you mind if I pick your fruit? Mm-hmm. So, you're having a conversation with it. We're not just grabbing all the resources that we can get from it or chopping down all of the trees so the other animals and the other creatures can't survive. I mean, it's a prevalent thing. We've got to stay in communication with the earth. Remember I said it's sending down the messages. Great. There's electromagnetic energy. Fantastic. Which is grounding. So if you take off your shoes and socks and don't put the soles on of the Nike or whatever, Clarks or whatever you're wearing, then you're going to get the vibration. So if you're feeling sick, that's the first thing to do. You don't go to the medical and get some false medication. No. You ground from the earth and the planet itself.
Fantastic. You know what we're going to do? We're going to bring you back.
Yeah, we've got to revisit this.
We got to revisit
yes.
My time is here.
And then, I want to add more basis and more validity and go through it a bit slower.
Yes.
You can ask me any question. I don't mind. I think it's very, very important because, again, even if you look in the Bible, because I say, we're not throwing the Bible away, sir. He was given to us for a reason. And, we can go into that. A lot of that are on the walls of Kemet, and it's been quantized and condensed down. Right. 800 years, 66 books, and 44 authors. Now, we've got to talk about the books that we're taking out as well.
We're going to do this
We've got to do all of that.
We're going to do
but
this again. I got to
quickly, go. But quickly, before I brought a present for you.
My producer's pushing me.
Yeah, I brought a present for you.
Right,
and for you and the producer.
Okay.
So these are ties.
Okay, wonderful.
So you can wear them. Yeah, exactly. So you can have first pick of it. And just like mine.
You made this yourself?
No, actually, no. There was just some gimmicks that I brought for a party. Okay. And we had some spare over. And then you press the button. I'm not getting the button at the moment. I am getting the button. And it lights up like this.
Marvelous.
So that's definitely for you and the producer, and maybe we can wear them. No, it's been an absolute pleasure being here. I really have enjoyed myself.
Let me say thank you. Brother, Teacher Joseph, big shout out to you. Let me say thank you.
Thank you.
You're definitely coming back.
And just before we say, if you can raise the consciousness up 1%, then we've taught something. You see what I mean?
Marvelous. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bless up.
Love. Peace.
There you have it, guys. Let me say thanks to Teacher Joseph. Absolutely fantastic. Wonderful brother.
One love.
Sharing the knowledge with us, and we love this. And he'll be back here very, very soon. Let me say thank you for tuning in to Breakthrough TV. Let me say big shout out to you. As I want to say big shout out to you, Miss Dan. Once again, also Dawn. Big shout out. Oh, that's an event. Big shout out to you. Don't say another shout out to you. Have a great time. Happy New Year. God bless you. My time is here. Want to say thanks to producer once again. Mr. Producer, Happy New Year, sir. God bless you. Teacher Joseph, big shout out to you. All you guys who take part in the program, let me say big thanks to you. Wonderful. We'll be back here again next week with another What's on Your Mind. My guest next week is Janet Barrett. She will be here in our studio next week. So
look forward to that.
We're looking forward to that. Janet, big shout out to you, my sister. I know we got to chat because you say we got to do the real chats like
real
we do
talk,
here tonight.
Yeah, big people thing.
Big shout out to you. Thank you. Don't forget, guys, press the comment button.
That's right. Like,
do
subscribe,
the comment button.
share.
Save something in the comments. Leave your comments. You have to say leave your comments.
Be
don't
nice,
be
nice.
Don't forget to leave your comments. My time is here. God bless you. Take care. Leave your comments. Thank you.
See you now, and you.
Reggae Jam Jam.
Planning an event? Do it professionally. Please contact Breakthrough Event Management Team and get everything under one roof for both indoor and outdoor occasions, birthday parties, bridal and baby showers, anniversaries, funerals, backyard BBQs and more. We offer a video and photography service, marquees, decoration and a PA system to hire, with popular new style radio DJs spinning old and new school hits. Please contact 07584 197 380 and book all your catering needs with Reggae Jam Jam catering service on 0787
244 3765.
And remember, do it good and done.